I earned $14,305 in 31 days selling a $17 PDF. Now that I got the hook, I want to explain the serve first mentality that I used just over a year ago, and it radically transformed my life. This mentality and a $17 PDF, as wild as that sounds, I'm going to share the story and kind of how I came up with it. Now, I earned my first digital dollar in January of 2011 during Obama's first term in office. It was a $25 affiliate commission from HostGator, and it was still the most impactful dollar I've ever earned online. I've had one day where I earned $5,000 in a single day. I've had a couple, probably 4 or 5 weeks where I've earned 5 figures. It still doesn't compare to that $25 commission. That first sale, it proved that it's possible, but more importantly, it proved that I could do it. So anyways, I've had a lot of bad years, it's been up and down. It's been a roller coaster over the last decade plus. Some success, a whole shit ton of failures though. I say sleepless nights, overdraft fees like a motherfucker, eviction notices, car repo letters, all of that stuff, And so last May 30th of last year, I jumped on Threads. And this idea of this serve first mentality. Now, when I jumped on Threads, I didn't have this mentality. But looking back on it, like Steve Jobs always said, looking back on it, you can connect the dots. So this wasn't part of my strategy or my plan, but I jumped on Threads May 30th of last year. And again, I've had a decade plus in this industry, so I have a lot of experience. I might not have a lot of success, but I do have a lot of experience of what not to do. And so I just jumped on Threads and I answered people's questions. I was being of service, I helped, answered hundreds and hundreds of questions. I did that during the daytime, and then I drove Uber at night. And that was pretty much my entire June last year. Like a year ago right now, that's exactly what I was doing. And I was just helping. I didn't pitch anything, I didn't sell anything, I didn't say slide in my DMs, click the link in my bio, none of that crap. And typically in the space that I'm in, that's what 98% of people do. Check the link in my bio, shoot me a DM, we can talk. They're in sales pitch mode from day one. I took a different approach, And so I just started helping, I started serving. And within about 3 weeks, people started asking what I was doing. And I just said, my answer was, I'm just answering questions. And they're like, no, you're doing more than that. You're growing so fast. And I said, I'm just answering questions, And people kept asking, and they're like, would you create a training on how you're doing it? Because they're like, I'm answering questions, it's not working. So I was like, all right. And so I threw out an idea, June 30th of last year, on a Saturday. And it was I was like, hey, I'm thinking about writing an ebook. I didn't know that I didn't have a name for this ebook, by the way. And I said, I'm going to launch the checkout page on Monday. Again, I didn't have the name. I came up with the name Monday morning. I launched it Monday at like 1 o'clock. Right after lunch, I launched it. I was nervous as shit. I didn't have anything written. I sold them air. I let them know that beforehand. I said, it will not be delivered till Saturday. I have not written this thing. I haven't even started writing this thing. You're buying air, and you're buying on the trust that I've built up over the last 31 days. And they understood that. And they were totally fine with that. I didn't get a single complaint about that. That's a whole nother topic about why you always should sell before you create. Sell it before you create it. Again, I'll do another video on that. But I built up a community of people that knew, liked, and trusted me by helping and serving, and I stood out like a fart in a library by just helping and serving and not pitching and selling. I didn't have desperation on my breath, even though I was doing Uber at night, I remember doing Uber and I would park and I would answer questions when I was parked. And sometimes at the stoplight, to be honest. I know that's not safe, but I remember specifically answering a Threads question. I was at the stoplight right by the airport in Las Vegas, But I just had this serve first mentality, and I was just helping, being of service. And so like that mindset radically changed everything. And you can apply the same thing. And so when people come to me and they say, Adam, what should I do? How should I start? And I recorded an Instagram reel, and I'll try to link it down below, on what I would do. And basically I told them, I said, just jump on one social media platform. Threads is a great platform for this. Also Facebook groups is another great one. Join 1 or 2 Facebook groups that's around an interest, a topic that you have experience, and just answer people's questions. Now, it might take you 5-6 Facebook groups to join to find like 1 or 2 good ones. They're not all good. Some are spammy, you know. But I've used Facebook groups a lot over the years for business. And I treat Threads just like a Facebook group. And just answer people's questions. Just be of service to them. Just for 30 days. 30 days. You will have people sliding into your DMs asking for help, asking for coaching, asking for a course, whatever it is. It doesn't matter the topic. And you could probably do this on other social media channels. But to me, Threads and Facebook groups are the best platforms. And again, it would probably work on others, but I really like those two myself. And just come from a serve first mindset, serve first mentality of just being helpful. You know, and so I'm starting to build my marketing message around this serve first creator. I've been kind of throwing it out there lately on social media. I'm talking about it here on YouTube a little bit more. You know, and this is what I want to create, is this mindset mentality of people serve first, not all about selling and pitching. And ironically, it's the same approach I took over on Instagram last fall, you know, where I was just serving and helping, and I wasn't pitching all that much. I was pitching a little bit more than Threads. And it started working on Instagram. And ironically, or not, I'm doing the same thing on this YouTube channel. I very rarely pitch anything on these videos. I do 5 videos a week. You know, this is week 3 or this week 4, I think, of doing 5 videos a week. And I don't pitch any, very rarely do I say, oh, grab it down below. To be honest, I forget to do it. You know, and people still buy. You know, I don't know my sales, but last month I made $1,700 in digital product sales from YouTube alone. And I don't really pitch anything. Now, they are linked down below, you know, so if you want to go down and check out what I have to buy, you can, but I don't like overly pitch it like a lot of YouTubers. You know, they'll dedicate 2 or 3 minutes on their YouTube video, you know, buy now, buy now. I don't do any of that. And it's because of this serve first mentality. Could I make more money doing that? I probably could. In the short term, yes. But in the long term, people are like, you know, oh, I'm not going to watch Adam's video. He does 7 minutes of content and then a hardcore pitch the last 3 or 4 minutes. Or they might watch the first 7 minutes and then tune out. You know, so I just prefer, you know, occasionally, like I said, I'll have a call to action. I'll say, grab it down below. You know, really simple. You know, I try to, like, it's like 10 seconds, 5 seconds. You know, but again, I'm taking this same mentality that I did with Threads and I was successful, Instagram I was successful, and now I'm doing it on YouTube and it's been successful. So again, this is what I call the serve first mentality. And I'm hoping, this might sound a little woo-woo, but I'm hoping I make a little dent in the universe with creators, because a lot of them come into it with desperation. They're like, I need to make money. You know, so they're in sales pitch mode on day 1. They have like 3 followers and they're pitching all the time. You know, so I'm hoping to maybe change that just a little bit, you know, and I have a ripple effect of other people starting to live this serve first mentality. And really, it applies to any area of your life. It's not just business. It can be relationships. It can be with your community. It can be whatever, you know. And a lot of people do it, obviously. But I just find a lot of people online, they don't do it. They're in such desperation mode. And again, it served me, ironically, or pun intended, it served me really well last year. And I've made a couple of videos on this, on how a $17 PDF changed my life. And I mean that. That's not clickbait. That's the fucking truth. That Threads Unleashed changed my life. Now, it wasn't just the PDF. It was what I did before I launched the PDF. And it was 31 days of answering hundreds of questions. Again, being of service to these people. So it wasn't like, I mean, the Threads Unleashed was really good. I'm not saying that to beat on my own chest at all. I've sold it, I think, 1,500 times and I have 1 refund. And that was just because they didn't get the email. They spoke in German. I didn't understand what they were asking. So then they went to PayPal and requested a refund because I couldn't understand what they were asking because it was in German, you know. But that's honestly the only refund. And it is a good product, but it's because what I did beforehand. I built up a community of people. You know, I launched it, I had 1,017 followers on Threads, so it wasn't like a big audience. And I launched it on day 31, it was day 31 of my journey on Threads. You know, so it really wasn't that long. So if you really think about it, like having that mindset of serving first for like 30 days, what it can do for like the rest of your life, like it's mind-blowing. But I know a lot of people think, oh my God, 30 days, that's so long. No, it's not. Like 30 days is like that. You know, so I challenge you, jump on one social media platform, and just answer questions. In whatever type school to feed, look for questions. They don't just have to be questions. They could somebody might be making a statement or sharing something. But if you have something that you can add to it, add to the conversation, share your perspective, your opinion, your thoughts based off of your experience. Not all of them that I comment on are questions. And by the way, not all of them I agree with the original poster. Sometimes I push back and go, that doesn't work for me. I'm nice about it. I'm not like an asshole about it and say, you're wrong, you're an idiot. But I will disagree with the person too. It's not just all fluffy, oh yeah, this is exactly how it's done. I'll push back and go, I tried that and it didn't work for me. So this is what I've done instead. And then we'll have like a healthy discussion, not like a bitter argument. So that's the serve first mentality. It comes from experience. I didn't have that my first decade plus in entrepreneurship. I mean, I did, but I didn't live it like, I didn't do it like, I wasn't all in with it. I'd kind of do it, but not all in. And last year I went all in with it. And again, it wasn't part of the plan. And it's changed my fucking life. So again, I call it the serve first mentality. Start adopting it. And you just might be starting to make YouTube videos here in a couple months and how it's changed your life. So anyways, I talk about how to earn money selling PDFs. If you have comments, questions, concerns, drop them down below. I'll do my absolute best to answer them. Also, click subscribe if you like these videos. I do these videos Monday through Friday, just one take. No edits, no fancy shit, no script. I just ramble. I call it real, I call it raw, and I call it ramble style content. So if this is kind of your cup of tea, click that subscribe button as I do these videos Monday through Friday. Thank you.